Hello, everyone, and it's another Friday on Supreme Leverage, and it's 5 o'clock. It's always a pleasure to be here and always exciting. Like I always say, every week we always have something exciting for you. My name is Olubukola Adebuyi, and I'm the CEO of Supreme Education Foundation School, and it's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. So this week we're discussing feminine but solid. What do you think that means? We always have the best with us. This week we are having Mrs. Florence Carl Ogu with us. But just before she comes in, we're going for the news with someone new today, and it's one of Supreme's very good educator, Mrs. Aderonke Awoboko. Over to you, Ms. Awoboko.
Good evening, Ma. It's good to be here. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the news. Now it's time for Supreme News, and we'll be starting with the headlines. Lagos government releases the new 2020-2021 academic plans. Supreme Education Foundation gets OEQA approval. Lagos to reward deserving teachers. Girl education, key to our national development. And the world news. Russia and China approve phase 3 of trial CanSino COVID-19 vaccine. Now, the news in full. Lagos government releases new 2020-2021 academic plans. Ahead of resumption of activities in both public and private schools, the Commissioner for Education in the state, Mrs. Folashade Adefisa, announced that private primary and secondary schools are permitted to resume from Monday, 21st of September 2020. The state government strongly recommends and encourages school owners to put safety first and open in phases similar to the plans for the public schools. Phased reopening also include strategies for staggered resumption in the mornings, classes on alternative days during the week, and teaching through various distance learning methods. Schools must also comply with safety protocols and hygiene guidelines as instructed by the state government through the Office of Education Quality Assurance, OEQA. Supreme Education Foundation gets OEQA approval. In line with the guidelines instructed by the state government through the Office of the Education Quality Assurance, SEF gets a go-ahead to resume on Monday, having met all requirements. Supreme Education Foundation resumes firstly on Monday at SEF. We offer cutting-edge learning opportunities that are uniquely personal and specifically designed for our students. With our modern-day technical facilities, highly skilled and professional educators, your children get the very, very best. And a trial will convince you. We can't wait to have you on board. Lagos to reward deserving teachers. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has expressed his administration's readiness to reward excellence in state teaching service, pledging 20 cars to deserving teachers across the 6 education districts. Sanwo-Olu, who disclosed this during a virtual training of teachers tagged a Co-Educators Webinar Performance Series 3.3, described teachers as key change agents who will be remembered for shaping future generation of leaders. He advised them to embrace technology to improve the quality of teaching, adding that this will ultimately make them great teachers. Girl-child education, key to our development. The former Central Bank Governor, Muhammadu Sanusi II, has called for a vigorous education of the girl child as a crucial solution to Nigeria's socio-economic development. Mr. Sanusi, while launching a project on sustainable development goals, SDG challenge for local community teachers in Nigeria, explained that the project will provide opportunities to improve access to quality gender-responsive education for women and girls in crisis, conflict, and fragile situations. He disclosed that the project is in partnership with a Canada-based social enterprise, 1 Million Teachers, who will provide equitable and high-impact initiatives that can enhance learning opportunities for the less privileged in the society. And the world news. Russia and China approved phase 3 trial of CanSino's COVID-19 vaccine. China and Russia, two countries who offer to develop coronavirus vaccines, have drawn sharp critics from the US, are stepping up, cooperating in the inoculation race. The neighbors have emerged as two leading contenders to supply COVID-19 shots. One of 9 vaccine candidates that have reached phase 3 trial worldwide, 4 are Chinese, and according to the World Health Organization, Russia is in mid-August made headlines for being the first to register a vaccine named Sputnik V after the legendary Soviet satellite. And the quote for the day: in a world where you can be anything, be kind. I'm Aderonke Alboko. Over to you, Mr. Deroye.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that, Ms. Saroboku. Very well done. That was fantastic. And well done to Supreme. This is where we should give ourselves a pat on the shoulder. We've done a very good job. I'm so proud of my team. And we are looking forward to resumption on Monday. I'm sure you are looking forward to resumption, Mrs. Saroboku. And I'm also very glad that Lagos State will be rewarding deserving teachers. Teachers have worked non-stop. And so this is really good. This is very thoughtful of the state. So well done, Ms. Saroboku. Thank you very much for the news. It was good having you on Supreme Leverage. And so drum rolls, we are having Mrs. Florence Carl Ogu. Mrs. Florence Carl Ogu with us this evening. Thank you so much for coming on Supreme Leverage. She is a family therapist and a sexuality coach. She's very passionate about helping families. She has both international and local certification in counseling and therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, TIMFA USA, amongst many others. She has authored several books that has impacted both parents and children greatly. She is a conference speaker and trainer, author, and a therapist. Amongst conferences she has spoken includes conferences organized by the Office of the First Lady of Lagos State, which is called LEARN, National Association of Journalists in Nigeria, NAWO. She facilitates annual trainings of the Practitioners Clinic for aspiring life practitioners, amongst others. Her first book, Feminine but Solid, has been a masterpiece, transforming young ladies and helping them overcome abuse and prevent it too. So it's not just about overcoming it, but prevention is key. She has authored several other books. She is the founder of Revive Afrique, which is a resource center, an organization that provides family maintenance solution. Wow. Family maintenance solution. Little things we take for granted. She's the lead facilitator of the Practitioners Clinic. She hosts several workshops and conferences with a single purpose. It's not dual. She's not confused. She knows what she's doing, and it's about empowering families on different capacities. Do you all have your pens and papers beside you, ready to take a lot of note? Because this is about family. This is about you and me. This is about us maintaining our families, keeping our families together, preventing abuse before it comes to us. And then if we have that issue, we have an expert in the system. And then you know what? A little bird just told me it's her birthday tomorrow as well. So isn't this lovely, Mrs. Ogo? So we have you today. So we'll be celebrating your birthday. We will start from today and celebrate into tomorrow. Thank you so much for making out time to be here. You are such a darling. Thank you so much for being on Supreme Leverage this evening. It's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. A bit faint, though.
Okay. I want it to be. So can you hear me now? I'm trying
Yes,
to
we can.
get
Yes,
the
I
right
can.
volume. Can you hear me properly now?
I can.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here. I'm excited. Okay. I guess I've been busy. But I'm glad to be here.
It's a pleasure having you. We are happy to have you as well on Supreme Leverage this evening. The network is a bit poorly. Oh, the network is a bit bad, and I'm sure she'll be joining us in a minute. And I would, like I always say, please have your pen, have your papers, get ready to send us questions live, because we are live now on YouTube, on Facebook. This is also a time to call a friend, Supreme Leverage has started. It's 5 o'clock. You need to be sitting down now. You need to rush to the bathroom, get everything ready, because it's going to be a wonderful evening with Mrs. Ogo this evening. If you've missed any of all our former programs, please go back on YouTube and on Facebook. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and then catch up on every program that you've missed in the past. It's been quite an experience on Supreme Leverage. I have learned so much, and I know that for those that have watched consistently every week, there is so much to always gain from Supreme Leverage. So remember that as she's coming back on board, you're ready to ask us questions. You're ready to send in comments. Please be a part of the discussion. It's not only to ask questions, but also send in your comments, your thoughts on the topic, being feminine and at the same time being solid. And I can't wait for her to share her thoughts on this. What does it mean to be solid and be feminine at the same time? Is it something that we can do? Is it possible that in this day and age, at this time, we can be very solid and at the same time not lose our femininity? Is our femininity, is it an hindrance to being solid? There's so much to look at, to think about on these. I mean, I've been pondering about it all week, thinking, does it mean that when you're very feminine, there was a joke when we were quite younger, we would say, if you're very solid, if you're very tall, then we say, oh, you're not so feminine, you're a tomboy. But I don't think it's so. I think you can really be strong, you can be solid, but at the same time feminine. But I accept I'm not the expert on this. Mrs. Ogo is the expert on this. I can't wait to have her back on board. I think she's gradually coming back on. Mrs. Ogo, are you back? Oh, this is an evening unlike any. One of those evenings when we are struggling with connections. I think we had, I'm sure she is trying to really come back. The network is really bad this evening. It's really bad. Hopefully she will be able to join us on board. And while we are waiting for her to come on board, I think those of us in-house can begin to discuss about feminine but solid. The network is really bad. Okay. I think while we are waiting for her to come on board, we would, what are we expecting that she would talk about this evening? We will look at what it means to be feminine, and we would look at it in comparison to expectations, to what the society defines femininity to be. We would look at that. We would look at and so while we are waiting for our oh, she's back on board now. Oh my God, we've lost her again. This is enough to get everyone apprehensive. I pray she's able to really to come back on live. Okay, so we'll look at the peculiar traits that makes female to be tagged solid. What are the things that makes what does it mean when we are tagged, when a female is tagged as being solid? We will look at what makes a woman to be tagged as a weaker vessel, which is the biblical description. And when the Bible says that, what does the Bible? Oh, Mr. Rotimi, Mr. Itayo, you're on. And while we are waiting for Mrs. Ogu to come on board and everything, and it's nice that you're coming over because we will be looking at this from also the male perception of femininity. So, and how you would view it. And so be ready, because I'm sure we would be coming for you, because we want to see how you perceive us or the issue of femininity. I think Mrs. Ogu is back on board now, so maybe she could join us back. I hope that she's able to stay now. Fantastic. Mrs. Ogu, can you hear us? Are you back? This is very poor. Okay, so Mr. Itayo, how would you describe femininity? What do you think it means, especially when women are being called, I mean, in relation to the topic feminine but solid?
So I have this feeling being set up. So good evening, everyone, and let me tread softly. So my definition about femininity would be along several yardsticks. So I'm going to define femininity from the angle of the moral perspective of things. Okay. And I'll define femininity from, of course, the biological side of things, and maybe a little bit of the spiritual side of things, and then the general or economic side of things. So first things first, femininity, when we're looking at it from the moral side of things, femininity has to do with more of perception of expression. So how should the female gender in the context of reality express themselves?
Yes.
Yes. So that we need to recognize that some people approach femininity from that perspective. So if they are to judge who a lady should be, who a woman should be, the lens of morality sometimes places perception, sometimes places restriction on the female gender. But then when you take a step further, you now look at it from the angle of economic perspective. Femininity is just talking about people who are able to, of course, from the female gender, who are able to express their sexuality in terms of being who they are and all that they are and all that they represent, right? So it's like you're looking at it from the moral perspective, you're looking at it from the economic and general perspective. But then there's the social cultural perspective, which sometimes requires intelligence from not just from the male folk, but from everyone. So when we say femininity takes context and meaning from the, for example, African perspective. So we believe that the expression of your femaleness or the expression of your feminine gender must actually thrive on the values of culture. So you are not a lady if you are not culturally correct. Or better still, you are a lady if you are culturally correct. So if a lady is not warm, regardless of her personality type, regardless of our social orientation, regardless of our likes and dislikes. You just believe that if you are not warm, some people say you are not a kind of something material. But you know, even
Okay.
when it comes to the world of material, we have several types of material. So we have
Yes.
cotton, we have lilac, we have,
We have
so
still. Yeah.
yeah, so the perspective of femininity would be subjected to a common denominating factor when you look at all these perspectives together. So it won't be right to look at a woman alone from the economic or socioeconomic perspective. We need to come across. You will easily find a better equilibrium to describe a woman when you are looking at least 4 to 5 yardsticks and come up
Very
with an
true.
average. Yeah.
So, and I also believe that with our culture back here in Nigeria, with the social and cultural aspect of things, we tend to tilt towards the religious lens as well, looking at a lady from the religious lens, and then automatically assuming that they are the weaker vessel, as the Bible so called it. So, do you support this as well? And I'm not setting you up.
Okay, do I support it? It'll be difficult for me to say I don't support it. Weaker vessel does not necessarily mean useless vessel.
Okay.
So when you work with talent or talent management, you always realize that you deploy people's usefulness, you deploy people to the point of strength. So weaker vessels can be in form of the frailty and the frame. And that is talking about male and female gender. But when we're talking about the real person, person to person, we have come to realize that it crosses across from male and female. There are times that the male is the weaker vessel, contextual reality. So when we're talking about personality, some women have strong personality. Sometimes they call them alpha females, right? Almost, yeah. So what it simply means is either by exposure, by upbringing, by their natural background, some people have raised themselves up or they've been raised to respond to life's reality in such a way where you cannot categorize them as a weaker vessel. But it's in the Holy Book and we would not definitely agree with that. But weaker vessel does not mean less desirable. Just as a stronger vessel does not mean exactly. Men need help, regardless of
Very
their
true.
strength.
Very
I
true.
think that
I must agree with you on this because I believe as well that it depends on the context. When the Bible writes a weaker vessel, it also depends on the context, the lens you're looking at it, and also on interpretation. So interpretation plays a huge role, I must say, on this as well, because if the Bible has also described the woman as the helpmate for the man, it then means that she's not necessarily the weaker vessel, because you can't help if you're really that weak. You can't be of strength to the other person. So I like the fact that you said weaker does not mean the useless vessel. So that's a very good one. I think we have Mrs. Ogu back here before we end up dissecting everything for her. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good
Irene,
to have you.
can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can now.
All right.
We can hear you very well. So we were just dissecting the issue of femininity. What does it mean? And it's done a bit of justice to it, but you are the expert here. So how would you, even the network is scared of power of a woman. Can you see that from Okozi Loretta? She said, what can women do? Yes, the network does not want us to discuss women's power. Thank you very much, Loretta, for that. So let me have your take on the issue of femininity. What do you think it is? I'm looking at the topic, and why are women tagged solid?
Okay, thank you once again for having me. That's the strength of a woman. I had to look for the network. I was literally changing into 3 places. All right. So femininity really and the strength of a woman or being solid, it's about understanding who you are and understanding the kind of person you have been made to be. Now, I like to really clear at this point that when we talk about being feminine or being solid, it is not in any way to portray that kind of strength that puts the other gender down. It doesn't make you superior to the other gender. It only makes you understand that which you have been created with. So when we talk about femininity and being solid, is that woman that knows who she is, that knows who she has been created to be, and that has been acting accordingly. So I keep saying it. I tell people, I said being feminine or being solid is not in any way competing with a man. As a matter of fact, the real strength of a woman is when she is not in a competition with a man. That's it. The real strength of a woman is when she's not in competition with a man. She is not competing with a man. Understanding who you are, tapping into. So that solid there is with yourself. Actually, you'll be shocked. That solid is not even external. It is internal. Do you understand? Yeah. Yes. The solid is internal. It is tapping into all those things, the purpose, the potential, the abilities, and everything you have. That's where, so being feminine as a gender and then being solid is not throwing to the bin that which has been deposited inside of you. It is working on top of all the things that life has thrown at you. So I actually coincidentally have a book that is titled Feminine and Solid. And even if I won't call that my biography, I would say that about 60% of the content of the book has got to do about me, growing up as that female. You understand that life threw a lot at. So I was still telling some young ladies recently that I slept out several nights. I hated rats, but I had rats as my bed mates. Do you understand? So someone looked at me recently and was talking. Oh, that's the book, Mr. Ita. Yeah. So a young lady read the book and said, "You don't know what this means to me. I actually thought I should give up." And I said, "No, being feminine, being solid means you don't give up." No. And I explained a lot to the lady. I said, this was the same girl that sold water. Now, when I said water, she thought I was talking about bottled water. I said, no. As at that time I was selling water, there was no bottled water. And guess what? There was no pure water. I don't know if you know ice water. There is what they call ice water. Ice water is tied in a nylon. They call it Santana nylon. I don't know if you know what that is. So hawking on the streets. But when you tap into that strength that is inside of you, it catapults you from what life is throwing at you, and then it brings you up. So really, that's just my definition. So when I talk about feminine and solid, people think I'm trying to pull the male gender down. I'm trying to say women are superior, and I'm saying no. It is that woman that has decided to look away from the chaotic nature of life. It is that woman that has decided to when being is thrown at you and you refine it. When they throw a lot of things at you and you refine, you make out something interesting out of a bean. That's
when you make a lemonade out of your lemons.
And I would say that God just gave me the grace to prove another level of being feminine and solid, because even the network was going to frustrate itself. And then what did I do? Yeah, because little things like this counts, really. So instead of I had a choice to say, oh, I've tried like 2 networks and it's not working. I was in the car at some points. I was in the car.
I know.
I don't know if you noticed. Yeah, so I noticed to come back to the house. So when we talk about feminine and solid, we are talking about that woman that does not. We are talking about that young girl that does not give up. Yeah.
So it's really about embracing who you are. It's about embracing all that life has thrown at you and making lemonades out of the lemons that life has actually served you. Wow, wow. When I was, and initially I was pondering over this, and I was thinking, what does it mean to be feminine and solid? Does it mean you throw away your femininity, or you have to embrace one and leave the other? And this is very clear because as women, we do go through a lot. Can you share with us some of the reasons why a woman needs to be firm? We can't hear you. You're probably mute.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Awesome. Okay, so I need to get the question again. What are some of the...
I said, if you can share with us the reasons why a woman needs to be firm. What does it mean to be firm?
All right.
As a woman?
So
Is it that we easily yield as women to situations around us, or we do not stand our grounds? What does it mean for us to be firm as a woman?
Okay, so I'd like us to know that culture over the years has not helped the situation. Culture has not helped. We have a lot of disempowering culture out there. So we have the culture that has relegated the woman to the backyard. We have the culture that has relegated the woman to the kitchen. Just imagine that your parents didn't do a lot with you, and what you hold today, being the CEO of the school today. So we have it's been so disempowering. And then you know what it means for you to be loaded with disempowering content. It brings you that. Okay. But I like us to know that as women, we are so powerful that our power is not just our strength, maybe personal, but the effect is not private. Now, what that means is when you decide to be firm, when you decide to make use of that strength that you have been gifted with, generations are going to benefit from it. That is the truth. And so you need to be firm. You need to be firm and come out of all the things that culture. Just imagine, in both in religious setting, in most corporate organizations. So, like I said, one of the things I do is to work with families. You see families, you see a woman that probably just put to bed, and you hear things like she's not going back to work. Why? Because they think, in fact, from the time she's pregnant, they're beginning to say that, oh, she's not going to be effective. It happens.
Very true.
It happens in some organizations. I'm not telling you about what I don't know. It happens in some organizations. They just tell you that, oh, you're pregnant. In fact, there are some organizations that when you're married, they don't take you in. So these are some of the things. Imagine how we refine some of these traditions. We refine some of these archaic beliefs.
Very true.
We only put them in the package of the 21st century. I'm telling you the truth. They're just being refined, being rebranded. We rebrand these things, and it's really disempowering.
And it's very true. Yes.
Yeah. So I tell women, you have to be strong for yourself. Also, because you have generations looking up to you. You have ladies. And so when I look at myself, I say, Florence, what if I had given up? What if I had not decided to be firm? And how do you do it? How do you become firm? How do you stand up? Believe in yourself. It is nobody's responsibility to believe in you for you. Yes. It is not another person's job description. As a matter of fact, you're really going to be heartbroken if you make it someone's job description to do the believing. So you have to believe what you have. I'm a Christian, and I trust God that He's so fair that He has not left anyone without a potential. He has not left anyone without a purpose. He has not left anyone without a passion or something, a talent, a skill.
Yes.
As woman, you have it. Sometimes I joke and I said, even as a woman or as a lady, you have it in good measures, pressed and shaking together.
Shake it together and rolling over.
Yeah.
Wow. So why do you think women are then tagged as the weaker vessel? Because we're just discussing that before you came back on board with Mr. Eyitayo. then why are we tagged? Is it just because of the biblical description of women? Is that apt, or is it about the interpretation? Because I'm also a Christian, or is it just interpretation issues that we are having?
What we are having is interpretation issues. You've just said it. Interpretation issues. And it's happening, it's affecting homes where you see something that a woman really can do, and you hear the word, you are the weaker vessel, and then the one that is supposed to be the stronger vessel cannot do it, and then the thing remains undone. And it's happening everywhere. You see women not being allowed to take certain positions because they are termed weaker vessels. So I think it's just the interpretation. That isn't what it means. If you want to go deep, into it, sometimes I joke with when I work with families and I joke with the man. I said, if you really think your wife or your spouse is the weaker vessel, be pampering her. Be pampering her, be carrying her all around. Why don't you interpret it that way? That she sits down in the morning, you do breakfast in bed. When it's lunch, you come over.
Yes.
When it's because she can't do a lot. But when we want to use that word, we use it in a derogatory manner. We use it to diminish a woman. We use it to put a woman to the backstage. So that is the wrongest form of interpretation we can give to that word. And it's so unfair. It's so unfair. And now, because even women are beginning to act accordingly. I mean, a few women are beginning to act accordingly.
I was just going to ask that. Yes.
Thank you. So the power of words. So what has been thrown at you over the years is that you are weak, you are weak. And so you are internalizing it. Yes, internalize it. It forms your reality. You get, and then you begin to act weak. You begin to act indecisive. So you see, most young ladies are not able to make decisions in their relationships. Most married women are not able to make decisions for their life because they think they are weak. In fact, we have some very interesting men that will take it further to say they've got a fish brain. Do you know? I'm like, oh my
Can
goodness.
you repeat that?
Oh my goodness. You get it? So yeah. So I think that women will have to do a lot. No one dares to say that. In fact, the way you carry yourself, so women they carry themselves. They walk so so
defeated.
That even the weakness is written all over them. You get it? They don't have charisma.
So what can we do?
Yeah.
So what can we do to help women come out of this? Because I was just about to ask you that question about, we have women already that have the defeated attitude to life already. It might be coming from their background, like they say, garbage in, garbage out. They've had a lot of disempowering talks in their lives. They've heard so much about, you don't have what it takes, you're not strong enough, you're not smart enough, you're not capable. And because the law of attraction falls into motion as well, they attract that same kind of person as a spouse that keeps putting them down. How can they come out of it? Some of them are watching right now and they're thinking, I know I've got that inside me, but it's too late. Can I still bounce back? Can I still do something about it? What would you tell them to do?
Okay, thank you so much. So for that woman listening, it's what you call it is when you say it is late. It is only late when you say it is late. We have been so gifted, we are so powerful that we can give definitions. We can define things, we can call things to life. So I'd like you to change that mentality as you're listening to me now. saying that it is not too late. If your wife, I need you to understand that a wife is a role by choice. For instance, if I want to come to your school, madam, and you want to offer me a role, I would understand. So some of us, we have built our life and some lights around certain roles. You need to understand to do that, and then believe you are good enough. I had mentioned it before, that the truth is, it is not your spouse's responsibility to keep telling you are good enough. If you consistently build your esteem on other people's praises, their criticisms will break you. And that's why some of us feel so broken. We're beautiful. So if you keep hanging your affirmation around what people are saying to you, you'll be so disappointed, because the human is naturally unpredictable. So that woman listening to me, you are who you think you are. Find the reason you have been created. I mentioned it earlier that God has not left you without something. Apart from being that
very true
mother, that house, or that single lady that is engaged, there is something inside of you. Do not lies that say your brain is, I don't know, that some people even said you've got a watery brain. It is a lie from the pit of hell. Your brain is solid. You have all text. Now you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe in your abilities. You need to believe in your potentials. You need to get to that point that you get your hands dirty and find relevance. When I say get your hands dirty, it is like the book I believe in. That's the Bible. I'm a Christian unapologetically. I'm sorry. Okay, I just said sorry. I said unapologetically and I said I'm sorry. All right. And so there's a passage that says it is better to get your hands dirty and eat. It's talking about working with your hands. Do you understand? So at this time, I'm saying that you need to get your hands dirty. When I say get your hands dirty, you need to do those things instead of sitting down, wallowing in self-pity. Pick up that book and read. Attend that seminar. Feed yourself with daily positive affirmation. Do you understand? But the first thing you need to do now is to kill that lie. Never believe a prediction that does not empower you. Never believe a statement that is not empowering. Believe you are beautiful enough. Believe you've got brains that the world needs. When you do that, let me surprise you. You are actually refined giver of the brain. Now, each time you buy the lies of the people saying you don't have brains or that you are weak, you empower those people and you disempower the one that has created you. At least whatever he has said to you and about your life. I'm talking about God. So there are so many reasons why you should stand up. Your being small does not empower the world. Your being small doesn't make us happy. Your being small does not even impress your children. Your being small is not a religious one. Your being small is not being submitting. And guess what? You are not just limiting yourself. You're limiting thousands of people that God has connected you. And so that's yourself. So you thought you were the victim. But I'm sorry, you're not a victim.
But frankly, you're not.
Get up from being small. If you are listening to me today, you are not a victim. You are not a victim. No matter what has been thrown at you, you are not a victim. I want you to get up and believe you are good enough. Everything I had begin to work with them and more.
I mean, that is very enlightening, Mrs. Ogo. I think one of the things that would help women like that is to attend lots of seminars, get to listen to what other people, because some people think, or someone is listening to you and thinking, oh, she doesn't understand. If she knows what I've been through, she won't tell me it's possible for me to get up. She does. And sometimes it's just, you just need to see what is going on next door. You need to see that the grass is not greener on the other side. And then you begin to realize that, you know what, it's not really that bad with me. It's not so late. So I really do understand what you're saying. I mean, talking about what you've been through as well, they need to get out more there and listen and see what other women have through and how they've gotten over it and how they've risen from the ashes. I mean, when you look at the story of even Oprah Winfrey, that she was raped by her own father while she was growing.
Yeah.
I mean, those are things that can break anyone's soul. Look at Joyce Meyer. After having that with the father, then she married, then an abusive husband. You know, they've been through so much, and yet they've pulled their weight through. So it shows that there is hope for a woman. Thank you so much. You're really doing good, and it is quite inspiring for someone out there that is listening. And if you have someone and the person can't join at this time, please share this link with them so that they go back and they listen to it. So if someone wants to get in contact with you, wants to come in for coaching, because sometimes all you need is someone to talk to. And you also just want that person that would understand where you're coming from, where you're going to, and you just can open up to how can they get in contact with you, how can they reach out to you, because there are a lot of women in pains and in tears out there.
Awesome. Coincidentally, I'm even having a program that is this. I call it Push with Flow. Okay. You said something talking about the grass that if you think grass is greener on the other side, then I tell you, it is either someone is watering the grass or it is a fake or artificial grass. But I tell you, most times someone is watering. Yes, someone is watering. And the water has got to do with some of the things you just mentioned, attending seminars, talking to someone and all of that. And that was one of the reasons I put together a program I called Push. I have actually had contacts recently, especially during the COVID, of people saying that, oh my God, they are losing it. Some women suddenly discovered that they don't even have they can do it, or the pandemic revealed it, that they didn't have an identity of their own. Do you get? And I said, oh yeah, so let's do this. Push with flow, where you get recover whatever it is you have been through and discover who you are. All right, so that's the program I'm having. I think the last weekend of September. But then, if you need to talk to me, I am Florence Ogo on Instagram. I'm Florence Carl on Instagram. Florence Carl Ogo on Facebook, and of course, you can reach me on WhatsApp too. The truth is, I'm passionate about this because I know where God is bringing me from, but I'm more confident about where He's taking me to. So, with the same way I have been helped. I am passionate in women. I'm passionately helping families. So speak up, and I want to appreciate what you're doing. Your school. I want to appreciate you really are doing. It's mind blowing. It's interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, so
thank you.
This is so those listening to me. We can take it out of here. Yeah. Let's talk about it. Open up. Let me tell you quickly, one of the issues we even have as women, sometimes we live in pretense. We live in pretense. We don't want to talk. We think people will laugh at us. No.
Very true.
No, and I is one of the strongest. That's my message. So when I tell you where I am coming from, I didn't jump from heaven. And madam, I'm sure you have your story too. You didn't
definitely,
wake up one morning
definitely
to become the CEO, right?
I didn't.
Yes. So we need to loosen up and talk. We need to loosen up. So for that person is ready to talk, contact me and let's talk it through. Let's talk about it, and then you just find yourself and find what you have inside of you.
Thank you, Talabi, for that. We just had a comment and she said, hi, as a lady, can do so many things. I also sold water in Santana Nylons. Hilarious now, though. So you see, a lot of people have been through things. And the more, I always also say that women are women's greatest enemies. Women are women's greatest enemies because we don't tell ourselves the truth. Someone comes to you to open up, you make them feel like they have the worst problem in the world because your life has all been buttered, you've had it very good. And so we do not also open up to each other and help each other. What do you think about that, Mrs. Ogu?
You're very correct. And as women, we need to be more receptive. We need to open up.
Yes.
And we need to learn to accommodate. I don't know. It's been on for a long time. And I like to think that, the generation we have around now will change. You don't have anything to prove to the next woman. The next woman is not your competitor. As a matter of fact, no human being is your competitor. Your competitor is depression. Your competitor is nothing.
Yes.
Your competitor is culture. It is not the other woman. Do you understand? So even when we groom our daughters, let's groom our daughters not to compete. I do not compete. If complimenting the next woman, I complimenting Mrs. Olubukola. I am.
Very true. We're not competitors. Yes.
Niche. So women will need to rise up and genuinely celebrate ourselves. Yes. And we need to, when people talk to us, when people confide in us, we need to consider it a privilege. Really, I'm a life therapist. And anytime people come to talk to me, I say thank you. And I said it's a privilege. It's a privilege to talk to me. It's a privilege to bring whatever you are going through to me. So women will have, we don't use it against people. We keep away information. We keep away things from away that should better the next woman.
Next person. This is very enlightening.
It is true. We have to stop. What do you gain by being? Yes. It is not achieved to be the only superstar. It isn't an achievement. It is selfishness. Why would you want to be the only one shining?
Yes.
Why? I think women should stand up. Let us intentionally mentor people without feeling threatened.
Very true.
Do you get? So
yes.
I'm really passionate about it because it's that has been going on, with older women, with younger women, with young girls. And I think we should stop it. You know what happens when women come together? When women come together, transformation takes place. When women come together. So this is also a call for us to come together. Let's help a sister. Help a sister. You're standing. Help the sister come up. Help the sister being battered. Help the sister that is, help the sister that is going through depression. Help the sister that is thinking suicidal. Help the sister on the streets. If we can begin to help sisters. If one sister calls another person, I tell people, I said, when I call you sisterly, there's some people, I call the word sisterly. I said, when I call you sisterly, it means a lot. It means a lot. It's not because I gave birth to. That's yes. So when we say sisterly, that's it. That's hood, sisterhood. We need to begin to go back to the sisterhood. If we do that, just imagine one standing lady to 10 ladies on the floor to be able to help them. But when 10 standing ladies are only shining with themselves, we have 100 ladies on the floor. So 10 standing ladies, distribute your steps. Don't be together. And light is shining where there is light. You get blind.
Yes.
There's too much illumination. For crying out loud. Take light to where darkness is and let people see. So women out there, if you think you're standing, let that light of yours shine and go to the slum, go to those girls on the street. Do what you can do. If God has helped you, go help someone.
Make an impact.
Thank you.
Wow.
I will just keep talking.
I know. I think the network kind of shutting that time, and there's just so much to talk about. Okozu Loretta just wrote, "Women complementing and helping each other makes us stronger and brings out the hidden treasures in us." That is very true. If there is nothing you're taking away from this session, one, reach out to Florence Carl Ogu on Instagram, on Facebook, and so that you can make an appointment to see her. She has a program the last week of this month as well. Where is the program taking place, Mrs. Ogu? Okay, it's a bit frozen. I'm sure she will come back now to give us the information of where the program is taking place.
It's online. It's online.
It's online. Fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. So I'm sure by the time you check our Facebook page and then on IG, you will get all the information that you need. Also take away from this session that it's important that you help a sister. If each and every one of us makes it a duty to help at least a sister, then you can imagine how much we are giving back to the society at large. And you also know that once women are empowered, the nation is empowered. The nation becomes better. Most of the problems we are facing in Nigeria will be history because we have a lot of empowered women. So women, let us empower each other. And Mrs. Ogu from Supreme Education Foundation School, we're wishing you a happy birthday. We pray that you have a fantastic one tomorrow. Enjoy your day. And may the blessings of the Lord be upon you in Jesus' name. Thank you so much for being with us on Supreme Leverage this week. It is always a pleasure to have you on board. And we pray that we do have more things to do together. And so we're coming to the end of Supreme Leverage this week. It's so sad. I wish we could have much more time, but it was a fantastic one. So see you next week, same time at 5 o'clock. I remain your host, Olubukola Adewoye. See you next week.